Hello, everyone. I hope you had a great winter program and that you're walking away with a lot of new learnings and a lot of new perspectives. So, in our course on viewing current society through a literary lens, we based all of our discussions and all of our activities on the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. So, we began our course by first just discussing what the book was about and what it made you feel. Then we really dove deep into Old Major's speech, trying to understand what kind of persuasive techniques he had used, what these persuasive techniques are, and how they actually work. And then we watched a real speech by a student who had survived a school shooting in America and discussed how her speech used some of these techniques and why they were effective. This sort of naturally led us into a discussion about capitalism and why the gun culture is so widespread in the US. So, once we started talking a little bit about capitalism, um, we decided to understand it a little better. So, in order to understand that, we first understood communism very deeply by reading one, Animal Farm, and two, an extract from a book called Atlas Shrugged, where a factory worker explained how communism worked out in their factory. At the end of that, almost all of you agreed that or thought that capitalism is a better economic structure. And so, to sort of counter that, we played a game where each group had to manufacture certain material, but every group started off with different amounts of resources. You had to work really hard, you had to work really smart. But by the end of it, most of the groups had descended into bribery, a lot of corruption. There was a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And based on that, we realized that neither economic structure is great. There are pros in each, but there are very big cons in each. So, what works? And that's the question that we discussed for a bit, but really didn't come to an answer. And finally, we discussed what the book Animal Farm is actually based on, the real events of the Russian Revolution and how they played out, which was, I think, a great end to the course. And I hope that over the next few months and years, you read the book several times over and you go back and you read what actually happened. And I also hope that you like history a little bit more now and keep in mind that at the root of every major event is a person with very natural tendencies to be greedy, to want power, to want good for themselves, to want good for others. And I hope history becomes a little more alive for you going forward.